Welcome to For Felliness, Belly Snake. Good morning, my friends, and happy Money's Day to you. I hope I hope this week begins amazing, and I hope that you have a positive attitude about things going forward in the direction that you want. Today, I'm going to do things a little different than I normally do because today is a very exciting day for me. It's super exciting for me because I, like probably many others, get to celebrate something that's very near and dear to my heart. So, before we get started, though, I want to say thank you to all of you who have followed, and subscribed us on whichever channel, whatever platform, whatever audio or video or wherever you are. I thank you so much. Um, uh, Always giving a shout out to kwwp.org, nonprofit radio, the, for hosting our show each and every weekday morning. So thank you to you. Very appreciative. Yeah, I love the audience. For those of you who haven't visited kwwp.org, radio station dedicated to the sounds and the ancestral and cultural appreciation from around the world. So do check them out. Helps to find that sound that can help you evolve and become a better version of yourself. And again, as always, I want to give a huge shout out to my friends and family at newrealitytv.com. Uh, I can't express enough my appreciation for the collection, the plethora of spiritual perspectives available at newrealitytv.com. So do check them out as well. Well, as always, my webpage is author.akoutlaw.com. There you will find all the books that are due into publishers soon, hopefully. So do check them out as well, author.akoutlaw.com. All right, so today we're talking about my favorite day of the year, only because we celebrate a man, in my opinion, who had vision beyond his days, beyond his years. We embrace, of course, that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now, Dr. King, I'm not going to get too involved in the politics and certainly the emotional wave that's it is certainly surrounding Dr. King and his wonderful blessing of work. Only to say that one of the things that I truly appreciated about Dr. King and his speeches, the way he presented himself, and certainly the way uh, he peacefully fought for understanding, and in we call in the modern political turmoil, they call it the equality or equal rights, and I think at a bare bones level, I think what Dr. King brought to us is an understanding, uh, given his time in the world, you have to remember he faced a lot of opposition, faced a lot of people who thought what he was saying was just radical and certainly wasn't the norm at the time, but it was. And so with that in mind, I want us to think about differences. All too often, we're quick to judge another, whether it be by skin color, whether it be by the sex, whether it be by even who we voted for. We're quick to point out the differences. We're quick to find and isolate and certainly highlight differences amongst ourselves. And what we fail to remember is it's those differences that makes life worth living. I find it very interesting as I've spoken with many, many people throughout the years, and many people say, oh, it's just that belief, that difference is so wrong. And I say, well, why is that one so wrong and this other one is so right, right? How does that work? We have to understand that firstly and foremost, Dr. King believed, and I don't mean to put words in Dr. King's mouth. I am a huge, huge fan of Dr. King and his work. So I don't mean to paraphrase or play down or in any way degrade what Dr. King's message was. But I believe, and what it means to me is that Dr. King recognized that such a insignificant thing uh, did not separate human beings. So Dr. King recognized that in his case, black men and women were no different than anyone else. They're people. They were humans. They were physical entities bonded to spiritual entities, part of our lives, and their experiences um, atrociously were just marginalized. They were taken out of context, of course, to to incite to continue to forward the agenda of those who wish to be superior in some way. They feared something. They feared change. And change, many of us have experienced in our lives, change is can be very intimidating. It can be very um, unsettling because there is an unknown factor. Many of us talk about change in our personal lives. Even, we're changing a behavior, we're changing a belief, we're changing a value. We stipulate that that's other there is so different than where we are today. When I was, and I've told this story before, but as I began my journey in understanding my path, my personal path, one of the greatest lessons that were brought to me was by an old shaman friend of mine. And he told me that everything, everything in our lives, whether we recognize it or not, has a multitude of perspectives. We could see it from so many different directions. And and I said, well, doesn't that make life confusing? We see can't we see anything from any direction? And yes, you can. Well, doesn't that make things convoluted and concerning and just overwhelming? He said, yes, it does. Well, that's not going to help me on my spiritual journey. Yes, it does. Why? If you, as an example, were on a walk, you were walking through the forest, and along the path that you were traveling sat a boulder, big boulder, right in the middle of the path. Would you A, stop, look at the boulder, and say, no, okay, well, turn around, go back? Or would you look at the boulder and go, okay, well, how do I get around this thing? Or is it buried deep enough to where I can go over it? Obviously, not going underneath it. But would we evaluate it and then decide, okay, we still want to move forward, we still want to continue on our hike, but this boulder's in the way. Okay, we'll go around the boulder. We look on this side, and as we gaze past the boulder, we see, oh, it's a pretty steep hill over here. That's dangerous. We could slip, or we could hold on to the boulder, and kind of work our way around. But if we go over here, it's squishy. We may have to squeeze in our tummies a little to fit through the space, but we could still get through there safely. There's no hill going down. There's nothing we can really slip on. All we got to do is suck in our tummies and we'll be able to sneak back. That's difference. And when we make it bigger than what it is, that's on us, not on the situation, not on the boulder, not on the path, not on your journey, and certainly not on the perspective. We have an option. We have a choice. We can make that choice anytime we wish. We can say, going forward, I want to pass the boulder. I can go this way. I may have to make some level of commitment. I have to make some level of change. I have to suck in my tummy to get past the rock. But I can go this way safely. What's on the other side of the rock? This is what fears creates, probably more uncertainty than anything of the whole scenario. Is this idea of what's on the other side of the rock? We can't see it. So all of a sudden, it's unknown. There could be a monster over there. There could be a troll. There could be a bear. We don't know. And what's maybe even more frightening is because we've sucked in our tummies to get through the side here, we could get stuck. And the bear will be right there. We don't know. And that paralyzes more people than probably anything else, is what's on the other side of the rock. There could, however, be better weather. There could be an easier path. There could be all kinds of things. But we refuse sometimes to see that. We're so expectant of damnation and punishment and all of the things that society tries to force on us to believe. Well, I encourage everyone to believe what you believe, to be who you are, to recognize, to embrace differences. It's what makes us us. Being able to see these different perspectives allows us, I think, a more fuller, more fulfilled journey in this life. Dr. King had a speech, and I tried to bring it up this morning because I'm not very sometimes I'm technically challenged. But I tried to bring it up because in his speech, he speaks about, I have a dream. He has a dream where all children shall play together and be as one. Now, I'm paraphrasing Dr. King, so bear with me. But this speech, I think, as I've looked back at it now, through many years of study of my own spiritual journey, I realized that what Dr. King brought to our attention there on the steps there on August 28th, 1963, was this idea that the way we currently looked at things, the way we saw things, wasn't the only way we could look at things. We could change the way we saw things, the way we embraced instead of pushed away. One of the things that always makes my heart sing as I watched Dr. King's speech there on the wall on the mall there in Washington D.C. When he spoke about the dream, and you follow the camera, and the camera kind of pans around, and in that panning around, one of the things that just hits me every time is I see people, different people. There were not all blacks there at that march. There were people. There weren't whites, there weren't blacks, there weren't any other imaginary color. There were people who had perspectives, who could see differences and embraced them. I think the speech and the way TV broadcast the speech, I think inadvertently created more awareness than they meant to, obviously at the time, because the particularly the United States, more so than many, had this perspective, societally enforced perspective, that created a level of fear, a level of separation between things on something so nominal as skin color. My shield maiden and I speak quite frequently, and not taking away from Dr. King, but she speaks of the women's movement in the 70s and 60s and 70s, and how it's so shocking that, you know, women, and I'm sure this may have affected minorities as well, is how they couldn't get credit cards, they couldn't do banking, they couldn't do a lot of things, and that surprises her. And now you say, you know, change is hard. Change is difficult. Change is scary. Well, a lot of us decide that, whoa, no, we're not ready for that. Hold on. Yeah, whoa. Nope. And we hang on to that which even hurts us instead of changing. Instead of being able to go, you know, is this the healthiest way for me to be? Is this healthy? We cannot fear change. Change is inevitable. Change is our growth pattern. Change is our evolutionary path towards that which we will become better. We will become better at being who we are, as a race, as a species, but as importantly, as a person, as an entity. So today I get to celebrate, of course, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, and I would say probably it is my favorite holiday. Probably, I would even be willing to put Dr. King's birthday above my own. I think so. He was that influential to me. I may not have realized it back in 1963 because I wasn't born yet, but 3 years later, I would be. And so I in the studies I was doing about events that occurred during your birth week. I don't know if you've ever done that, but if you do, in my birth week, or in my birth month, I should say, Dr. King was beginning his Chicago tours of his speeches and his words in hopes of change. Um, and so I feel very connected to Dr. King in so many ways. He is an amazing human being, and I am honored that I get to watch and hear him speak, and just process that which he brought, because it was so it was so contradictory to everything going on at that time in history. But as we look back now, it tells me and it teaches me every time I watch one of his presentations. I'm always reminded on how change is an important part of our lives, and it is absolutely critical that we recognize and not fear change. And we certainly never think of some facet of another human's existence as being a methodology, a handle, if you will, at which to segregate them. That is not what the uniqueness of life is. It is about absorbing beauty in so many ways. When you go and you see a painting and you see an image, a painting, or even on the internet, we don't all watch the same colorless thing. We don't. No one does. We search for beauty here, in our eyes. Differences, changes, things that make it beautiful for us. Well, my friends, all of life is that way. All of life, all of our existence is about these differences. And it's these differences that makes life living. It brings an entirety to the images at which we are interpreting reality. So I, for one, can only begin to express my appreciation for Dr. King and those who have followed in his footsteps, those who bring his message, not with violence, not with hate, or trying to push some imaginary gate completely in the other direction, but the equality, the evenness, the balance of bringing all these pieces from our existence into our understanding as part of that beautiful picture we call life. So I want to take today, and normally we would celebrate Mani, and I think it's applicable in that Mani brings to us the questions that drive us, right? We've gained illumination from today. Soul has granted us all of the intellect and wisdom that we've requested. But whenever we receive intellect, we always have to remember that there's that dark energy that comes with it that needs to be illuminated. It's not in illuminated state yet, so we have to embrace that illumination, and we have to seek to illuminate it. We have to seek knowledge and wisdom and guidance for sure. And I think when we begin to recognize the questions we begin to say, why am I pushing that away? Why am I making that person different? Why am I why am I you know why do I feel that I need to have some level of superiority over that other person, over that other existence? When what I should say is, what can I learn from you? What can I bring from you? And just as importantly is, what can we share? What can I bring to the table to help us learn the entirety of existence, to see this beautiful mosaic in life? We shouldn't fear change. We should never fear change. Some changes will feel like pain. They'll feel maybe threatening. They will undermine what we feel we need. And when that happens, we are responsible for looking inside and saying, why? Why is this change? We can't force change to go away. Change will happen anyway. Change is part of reality. It's part of existence. Everything changes. Our job in that is to translate that change for us. Why? Why is it threatening us? Why do we feel threatened by that? I am disturbed by the fact that Dr. King had to illuminate many along his journey. I am honored that he took it upon himself to do that. Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., will forever be my personal greatest hero. He was a man of vision. He was a man who understood that people were afraid of change. And instead of punishing them for that fear, he helped to illuminate them. So I, for one, am incredibly grateful for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and thankful that he was willing, able, and kind, loving enough to present to us this other perspective, this other understanding. And that something so infinitesimally small could make any difference in a person, in an entity. My love and all of my appreciation goes to all of Dr. King's teachings and his wisdom, guidance. And for those of you who have followed Dr. King and have embraced his teachings, I applaud you. He truly embraced the understanding of spirituality at its core, at its most deepest humanistic core. He embraced that. So, join with me today and celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, and I pray that all of you will recognize the changes in your life, recognize those differences, not as methodologies at which to divide and conquer, but as part of the tapestry of existence that allows us to truly, truly embrace our lives to its fullest. I wish you the greatest of Mani's Day. I pray that you will also join with me and celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday today. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, where we will embrace the energy and the power and certainly the courage of Tyr. The god Tyr represents many things, law, justice, and the like, but he also represents courage. And sometimes, as we spoke today, courage is a necessary part of that change that we have in our lives that are guaranteed to be there. So embrace it, be a part of it, don't be afraid of it. All right. Love and light, my friends, and we will see you again tomorrow, where, as always, we will embrace the courage of Tyr. Love and light, and happy birthday, Dr. King.
Fulfilling us. Una. Hjälpas med. Magnify. Tu för og. Kaliot.
If what we've touched today hits something raw for you, you don't have to carry it alone. We offer a sliding scale spiritual guidance with sessions outside normal business hours. Visit aklulfhepnar.org/guidance to book a free discovery session.